everyone. I'd just like to start off by thanking AC Electric and Sustainable Jersey for this opportunity, and thanks again to Nanette and Lisa helping get this project along. So if anyone's not familiar, Egg Harbor City also has a lake similar to Hammonton. It's pretty much the jewel of the town. I guess one striking difference is that where this lake is rather developed, Egg Harbor City's lake is very forested still. It's pretty much surrounded by thousands of acres of forest. It's a 400-acre parcel. But if you're familiar with the lake itself, the lake only uses probably about a third of that. And I'm somewhat of a new resident, and one thing I noticed upon starting to hike all the trails around the lake is that really none of them are marked. You know, these trails, there's pretty much over 60 miles of trails that go in every which direction, all the way up to the Moloka, into Moloka Township. And they're all like really wide trails. It's not like you have to like bushwhack through this forest. They're well worn, mostly by ATV riding, and there's a lot of really good history out there and ecological assets as well. So if you're ever at the lake on like a Saturday, it's bumping, it's packed, but everyone just congregates at the lake and pretty much stays there. I think it's really intimidating for people to just start walking through unmarked trails into a forest. People are very wary of that. So what we're trying to do here is take one section of the park, which is the southeast section, and there's about 3 miles of trails back in there, and we're going to mark it out. We're going to mark the trails, we're going to blaze them, we're going to install some benches, we're going to install some historical interpretive signs, some maps, and really try to highlight this part of the park. So when people come to the lake, they can swim at the beach, and then they can take a real nice little walk through the woods. And what's really cool about this part of the park is that there's so much history there that's pretty much been forgotten. You know, the area was used originally by Native Americans. There's a Native American migration route that cuts right through the park. It's known as Indian Cabin Road. That was also then converted into a stagecoach route in the late 1700s. It was used by British forces after the Battle of Chestnut Neck, and then it turned into like a small plantation by the Shalers. They had a mill there, and that was used as a residence for quite a while. If anyone's around the lake too, you'll notice that there's a Shaler grave. It's kind of a little landmark in Egg Harbor City. It's Miss Sybil Shaler and her 3 children. They most likely died of typhoid fever in the late 1700s. So all that's left is just one gravestone. Around the whole area, it was known as the Gloucester Furnace as well, from the late 1700s to the mid 1800s. And they pretty much would clear cut the entire forest to make charcoal. So there's charcoal mounds that are still kind of buried out there. And all this land was eventually donated to Egg Harbor City to turn into their park. And over time, the forest has just reclaimed all that. So now what we're trying to do is trying to figure out where these historical sites are actually at. No one really knows, even working with local historians. A lot of this has just been forgotten. Right in the center area of where we're building this trail is an old dam that blocked the Landon Creek. And no one really seems to know what this dam was used for. We're calling it the Mystery Dam right now. What we think, it was probably used in the early 1900s by Charles Smith. He had a little hotel out there at the lake, and he also had a little mill as well. And we're hoping to bring in some professional help to see if we can figure out exactly what this dam was used for, and that we'll install some interpretive signs to highlight the history there. So we're really excited to get this thing moving along, and hopefully people can come to Egg Harbor City, and what seemed like before was just woods that were mostly forgotten about will now be a centerpiece of the lake, and we hope to highlight Egg Harbor City's rich history. So yeah, thanks. We're really excited.